It's our last installment of the Treasure Triangle series, and this is Lori Feldman. I am the also known as the Database Diva, I guess I should say. We help companies grow by connecting their CRM, website, and e-marketing systems. Joining me is Todd Vio. Todd, say hi.
Hello.
Todd's going to do most of our demoing today. He is our VP of Technology and our Senior App Consultant. And eager to get going, this is my favorite part of the Treasure Triangle. So we've got a very short but full agenda today. Todd, you want to switch it? We're going to first cover our Treasure Triangle, point number 3, then show you how to set up any kind of a drip marketing campaign. Steps are the same. We just pulled out 2 for today that we feel are the most essential to get started with. Number 1 being web forms, and the more web forms you have on your site, the more leads you have the potential of gaining. So we're going to do a demo on that. And then the second essential campaign that we feel you need is a proposal follow-up or some kind of a sales follow-up that keeps you nurturing your hot prospects or your most likely to buy prospects to get them inching towards the sale faster and making sure that you cover all the bases. So we'll demo that. All right, so let's start with a definition of the Treasure Triangle. And the last 2 trainings that we had covered the email blast, top left, and the e-newsletter, top right. And those are very important, and you need to be doing those as well. But if you look down at the bottom on point 3, we have drip marketing. So what I like to say about drip marketing is if you split your triangle in half, top to bottom, the email blast and the e-newsletter are messages that are more all about you. So your products, your sale, your event, your top employee, your best customer, you know, your favorite trucks, whatever you've got that is news that you want to share with your base. And those are at the top, and those are very important. But if that's the only messages that you're sending out, then you're missing a chance to build that deeper relationship with the customer, because the customer is not so much interested in what you have to say about you. They're interested in what can you do for me now. And that's where drip marketing comes in. Drip marketing is a way for you to send messages that are more educational. They're all about the customer and the customer's challenges, how you can help them solve it. So over time, you start looking like the subject matter expert in your field, the person who they can go to ask questions without having to worry that there's always going to be a sales pitch at the end of the conversation. So that, to me, is it's the under-the-radar piece of the Treasure Triangle for sure. It's not so much in your face, but it's a steady drip, 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 if you will, over a long period of time that helps the customer get to know you personally, as well as feel comfortable and confident that you would be the right solution provider of choice when they're ready to make that buying decision. So we're going to show you how that plays out in real life with the demos that we're going to do today. And Todd, I think our next slide is for you to show us how to set up our drip marketing campaigns in Swiftpage. So I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to pull up ACT here. And so this is our ACT database. We have our Swiftpage icon up here. We're going to go to the Swiftpage icon, and when you start with this, you're going to use this exact same templates that we set up with the email blast and newsletters. So it's the same templates that you're going to use. You'll set those up in the template editor within Swiftpage. Then those templates, once we have those set up, those will then be connected to the drip campaign. So once you have those templates, you put the templates into the template section, set those all up, then go into the drip campaign, and it will give you a list of all those templates in there. You select the one you want to connect to it. So I'm going to show you that first. We're going to I'm not going to show you how to do the templates. I'm going to assume you already have those set up. So if we click on our drip marketing tab here, this lists all of the drip marketing campaigns that are currently in our system. But I'm going to come down here to the campaign manager button. This is the main area of the drip marketing campaign. When you click on this, it lists then every drip campaign you have, even the ones that are not launched. So up at the top, there's a new campaign button. I click on that, and it opens up a campaign editor where you're going to start creating this campaign. The first thing it asks you is to give it a name. You can call it whatever you want. We have a naming convention that we always start everything with DM. So DM dash, and then whatever the name of it is going to be. So we'll just call this demo campaign. So give it a description if you want. If you want a little bit more details than that, you can. Then you also select who is going to be the one sending these emails. So which this is a Swiftpage user. So which Swiftpage user are all the emails going to be from? So you can leave it default, or you can select a different user. So, but every email that goes out from this from the system will be from that that user. It also asks you where the source is going to be. So we have different options here, but if it's going to be a form, a web form, we're going to select Survey Autoresponder here. So surveys and web forms are the same thing, so they're identical. So if you're going to come from a web form, we're going to select that here. If we're going to come from ACT, we'll select that here. So in this case, I'm just going to just choose ACT. Then it asks you what type of campaign is it. For the most part, every campaign you set up are going to be this duration campaign. And the duration means everything is based on the date that the contact enters the campaign. So how many days from the date they enter the campaign should each stage be sent? So each email or whatever it is that's going to be done, how many days from the day they enter the campaign should that that email be sent? These other ones, an anchor date is useful if you have an event out in the future. You set up the anchor date on that event date, and you can have emails that are going prior to that event date or after that event date. So that's what an anchor date does. And then calendar. Calendar is, some people use this for their newsletters. So you actually set each stage a specific calendar date that is going to be sent out, and everybody in the campaign gets the email on that date. So you can use that for like newsletters and stuff like that. But for the most part, most of your campaigns are going to be this duration date. So this one, every contact that's in the campaign will be receiving the emails on different dates. It's all based on the date that that contact entered the campaign. And then it asks you, when do you want this to end? You can, for the most part, just ignore this. I don't even know why it's here, because we'll just continue on indefinitely. So I usually just put it out as far as it would go, and it really doesn't matter. So as long as contacts are continuing to be entered into the campaign, those campaigns will still be run, even if that date is long past. So we have some that are years and years old, and it's still running. So I'm not really sure what the point of that was. Okay. So once I hit next, it actually takes me into the campaign. This is where I build out the campaign. And Swiftpage calls them stages. So stage is every actionable item that happens. So if it's an email that's being sent out or a call list, we have other things that we can do. Now, depending on your drip marketing campaign or drip marketing account, what account you are, then you may not have all of these options here. So everybody's going to have email. So even if you're at the silver level of drip marketing, you'll have email. But the rest of them, it all depends on what level of account you have as to whether these are active or not. And for the most part, we only use the email and call list. We rarely use any of these other ones. So every once in a while we use a transfer. Transfer meaning it will, when it hits that, it'll send them to a different campaign. So we'll start them on a different one. But we don't really use that very often either. Most of the time we just use email and call list. So to add a stage, we just simply click on this. So we're going to do an email. It's going to add a little stage over here on the right. This will be our first item that happens when they enter the campaign. So again, we give this stage a name. Typically, we will use the same naming convention, DM dash from the campaign name, test campaign in this case, and then 01. So that way we start with this is the first stage in this campaign. You can add additional comments if you want here. And then here's a subject line. So whatever you want your subject line of this email to be. And then you give a drop-down list. This drop-down list is all of the emails that are in all the templates that are in our accounts. And the way we do this, you'll notice that most of our emails or our templates have a date assigned to them. These are all of our email blasts. So our naming convention for our email blast is the date dash what type of template it is or what the email was. So these are all of our emails. If we keep scrolling down, we get to all of these DMs. So these are all of our drip marketing templates that we have set up. So we, by naming them this way, using this naming convention, we can match it to the exact name of our campaign here. That way we don't have to go digging and finding each one. So if we name them identical, I'll just use proposal follow-up here as an example. I would select that template. So we have our first template selected. We have our subject line in it. We can preview it if you want to see what that template looks like just to make sure. Then below, we now select when is this going to go out. So this is the number of days that the contact has been in the campaign before we send this stage. So usually for our first one, we want to use number 1. That'll send it the following day. So if I fill out a web form today, my first drip marketing email will be I'll receive tomorrow. Or if in this case it's a proposal follow-up, maybe if a proposal was sent out today, tomorrow I'll receive my first drip marketing campaign template. So we set the number of days since the contact has been entered into the campaign, and then which contacts are going to receive this. Now we're going to filter these contacts before we even enter them in the campaign. So there are going to be filtered some, but we can filter them even more once they're already in the campaign. But for the most part, we leave this as all contacts in the drip marketing list. So everybody that comes into this campaign is going to receive this template. So we add that stage. As soon as I add it, it adds it over to the right-hand side. So stage has been added. It's now on the right-hand side. So this is going to create a list of all of our stages in this campaign. So we may want to add another one. So we're going to do another email, and we'll do that a couple days after this one. So we're going to click Add Email. Type in our template name again, and this one's going to be 02. Give it whatever our subject line is. Here, put the subject line in again, and now you'll see it actually remembers our previous one. So all we got to do is just go down one to get to our next template. So because we've done the naming convention again, we just match up the names, make sure we're on the same one, and then here we're going to select. We're going to move this one out, though. We're going to give it a couple more days. So this is not the number of days from the previous stage. This is still the number of days since the contact was added to the campaign. Always remember that. You're not adding it to the previous one. You're still the number of days since since they were added to the campaign. So if I select 3 here, this will go out on day 3, which is going to be 2 days later than this one, not 3 days later than this one. So that's what that means. And again, we can do the select if we want to filter it out some. But for the most part, if they're in this campaign, we want to leave it as all contacts, and we add that stage. So now we have 2 emails in our drip campaign. We have them going out 3 days. We can continue to keep adding templates as we go. But now I want to add a call list. So usually the way we do this is 2 days after an email goes out, we will have it generate a call list from that email, and then that will go into our Act database where we can pull it from the Marketing Results tab. So there's a call list button here. I select this. Again, give it a name. And the way I do this naming convention is I do DM-test campaign, campaign-01-CL. So this is the naming convention that we typically use for this. And we do this one 2 days after the email goes out. So that would be day 3 for our first one. So it's 2 days after that one. Now this one, we do want to filter it so that it only receives, only puts contacts on it who have clicked or opened it. We don't need a call list of all of our unopens. That's not really going to help us. So we're going to leave those off. But we're going to only do it from stage 1. So in this case, I'm going to select stage 1. It really doesn't matter because there's only one stage ahead of it anyway, so it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. But as you get further down the list, it will matter that you choose which stage it is. So we're going to do from stage 1 only the opens and clicks. Anybody that opened and clicked on the email from stage 1. We hit Add Stage. And it takes a second here, and their stage has been added. So now we have our call list that's being generated from that stage 1. And we can repeat that again with all of the stages down as we go down this list. So if we want to do another one, we could do for stage 2, just finish it out. So stage 2 call list, this one's going to be 2 days after the stage 2 email. So we're at 5 now, and we're going to select from stage. And we're going to select stage 2, and then opens and clicks. So only opens and clicks. Add stage. So pretty easy. You just keep repeating that same process all the way down until you have all of your templates into the drip marketing campaign, and then add a call list 2 days after every email that goes out.
So let me add one more thing for you to try, Todd. Let's do a second send to everybody who didn't open an email that we sent out in the drip.
Okay. So yeah, Lori likes doing that. So every time an email is sent out, we can do a couple days later, we can repeat that same email and send it to the same people again, but only if they didn't open it the first time, open or click on something the first time. So just kind of a follow-up just to make sure that they received that. It didn't get deleted or something like that. So.
Or they were busy. And
they were busy, yeah.
Didn't get around to it, out of town, whatever.
Okay. So if I click email, well, I'm going to do the same email again. So we're going to repeat the first email. So we'll do DM. Now you're going to probably want to kind of spread these out a little bit more so that we don't send out the second email and repeat the first email on the same day, but you may have to redo your timing a little bit to be able to do this. So we're going to do 01-R1, repeat 1. So again, subject line will be the same subject line as before. Nothing will change. Then we're going to select our first template again, and we'll do this one on day 3, so a couple days after the first one was sent. And again, we're going to select from stage. We're going to do only those contacts that are on the first stage, but we're going to now uncheck these two, and we're going to only check the ones that are unopened. So anybody that did not open it, repeat this email, send it again. hit add stage. And there you go. So like I said, you're probably going to want to spread these out a little bit, change the orders. That's what you're going to do so that you don't have possibly 2 emails going out in the same day.
So go ahead and change that first call list just so everybody can see how to do it when it's already set up.
Change the first email, you mean?
No, the first call list.
Oh, this one?
Just push that out a couple more days.
Okay, so we can, if there's a little down arrows next to each one, if I click that, I can edit each of these stages. It just opens it back up over here on the right-hand side. So I can push this down a couple more days then. And then just save it back again. This is also, if you go in and edit these templates at a later date after you've already added them to a campaign, that is also something that you would have to do. Is you need to come back in here to these campaigns, edit them. You don't have to do anything. All you got to do is edit and save it, and then it will update the template that's connected to it. So keep that in mind. Every time you're adding a stage to this and you're selecting a template, what it's doing is it's copying that template into the drip campaign, and the original template that's in your template editor is now no longer connected to it. So if you go into your template editor, edit something and update it, and you want that as part of your drip campaign, you need to come back in here, edit this stage, and just save it. You don't have to do anything else. Just edit and save it, and that'll pull the newest template and re-upload it back into the drip campaign. And if you want to move this one, push this stage out, let's say, just to make sure that we don't get the 2 emails going the same day, we just select it, move it out a couple days. There we go. So now we have our first email going out day 1, a repeat of that on day 3 if they didn't open it. Then our second email goes out on day 5, and then we have our call list there right behind us. This needs to be pushed out now too. So you can keep working on this, keep adding templates to it, getting it created however you, whatever you want to do to it. Something to add to that, Lori?
Yep, that looks good.
Okay. I'm not going to really get into these other ones. You have to have the platinum version to be able to get most of these things. And really all they're doing is it's sending out an email with a list of all the contacts that should receive a postcard, letter, fax, or telemarketing. So it's not really doing any of these things for you. All it's doing is generating a list of people that should receive a postcard because they hit that stage, and emailing it to whoever you choose to email it to, so a vendor of some sort that would actually send that postcard out for you. So that's really all these stages do, and you have to have platinum level of drip marketing to be able to get to those anyway, so most people don't have that, so I'm not really going to go through any of that.
You want to go ahead and launch it?
Okay, so now that I have this created, I need to go back to my campaign manager. When I go to Campaign Manager, it's again list all the drip campaigns that are in our system. And here is the new one that I just created. You can see there's no contacts in it yet at this point. If I need to go back and I want to edit it again, I just click on it. It takes me back to that same screen we were just on where you can edit it. But in order to be able to use this campaign, we must launch it. So it's pretty simple. Just click on the launch button. It's saying, are you sure you want to do that? Okay. And I can always pause it later on if I want to and I need to go back and edit it. But once you launch it, it essentially locks it so that you can't edit it anymore without pausing it. But you can pause it, go back, edit, and launch it again if you need to. So it's processing all the stages, and then now here's the campaign has been launched. So that also will allow it to appear on our ACT database and allow us to add contacts into it. Because we selected ACT originally, it will appear in our ACT database and allow us to add contacts to it. I'll show you that in a little bit, how that works. But now we see we have this campaign. It's got a yellow dot here because there's no contacts in it yet. As soon as we start adding contacts in it, it'll turn green. It's actually running. We can view the stages if we need to. Notice that the edit is gone. We can't edit it without suspending it first, but we can suspend it and edit it if we need to. Then we have to relaunch it. The list viewer will show us all the contacts that are in it, and then reports you can receive of who opened and clicked on any of your emails within that campaign. So that's what the reports will show. Okay. So that's how you set up a drip campaign, how you launch it. And now I'm going to turn it back over to you, Lori. We'll go into our next part.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the strategy behind the essential campaign number one, which is web forms. You can create Swiftpage web forms with no extra charge as part of your subscription. The way that you do it is in the survey tool. So doing any kind of a customer survey, web forms, all the same thing included in your subscription. Okay, Todd? Todd's my button. That's my move ahead button. Okay, so picture the sales funnel, and if you think of a sales funnel having a top, a middle, and a bottom, so that's top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. When people come to your website, now we're strictly talking about website leads right now. When people come to your website, they're coming for different reasons, and they're not all ready to buy. In fact, I'll show you how few of them are really ready to buy. So if you get a lot of traffic to your website, congratulations, that's excellent. But what we're trying to do then is capture the interest enough that we can get them to self-identify. And we get them to self-identify by bribing them, or as we say, ethical bribing, through some kind of an offer for the stage that they're in. So when they're at the top of the funnel, they may have looked up a search term from your industry that may or may not even be what they were looking for. But nevertheless, they ended up on your site. They're looking for something. The best way to think about it is that people online are trying to solve a problem. So the closer you can get to figuring out what problems people are trying to solve and offering solutions on your website for that problem, and it may not be the problem that you think that they're having because you think that they have to have the problem that is going to cause them to buy something from you. But in a lot of cases, before someone is ready to buy, they have to have interest in education. So a lot of times the solution that they're looking for is, how can I get smarter about this thing before I spend my money? So spending money is the absolute last thing they want to do, and the first thing that they want to do is become more aware of what options they have. And whether that's on your website or someone else's website, it doesn't make any difference to them in the beginning when they're first searching. They're looking for someone who's going to speak to them at that primal level of what problem it is that they think that they have today. So at the top of the funnel, let me give you a different example. A lot of the websites of our clients that we work with start out, and all they have on there is a contact us page. Or they may have a sign up for our newsletter page. But if someone is coming to your site and you haven't done a good job of telling them enough information for where they are in the sales cycle for their own purchase or their own investigation, they're not likely going to sign up for the newsletter. Nobody wants to get more email. Everybody knows that. And filling out a contact us form is way too much of a investment in you for the stage that they're in. So there has to be other forms that do some of the lighter lifting, not the heavy lifting, because yeah, it'd be great if everybody that came to the website picked up the phone and called us and asked questions. Or it'd be great if everybody filled out a contact us form and said, please email me back this information. That would be wonderful. But that is not the first step that most people take. So we want to create web forms that are very easy to fill out, that don't commit people to very much, that have the fewest form fields to fill out in order to get whatever it is that they're looking for from you. So if it's a white paper, if you can get by with asking just maybe a name and an email address and nothing else, but just something that allows you to capture who they are, that is going to allow you to then put them on a drip campaign and give them the more information that you want to give them that they weren't willing to stick around on the website necessarily in the beginning to find out. So at least it gives you that opportunity, and that's all you want at this point is just an opportunity. Okay, so Todd, let's flip to the next one. I'm going to give you an example on our website how we do it. This is our home page, a slide of our home page. And down on the bottom right in that blue bar is what we call a banner ad. And if you click on that, Todd, flip this over, it will take you to this landing page. So this is what's called a landing page. And pretty much we've stripped off any other website information other than the navigation at the top. And the only thing you can do on this page is fill out the form or maybe click through to, something at the top, but you wouldn't really know what to click on at this point. So we just want people to sign up and get this free drip marketing blueprint. I'm sure some of you on the call have done that. And when you fill out the form, you hit the green button at the bottom, and that is what the autoresponder that comes next has the link to get the free download. And it also does several other things. And one of those things is it sends me an alert saying, so-and-so has been to your site. They downloaded the strip campaign blueprint. Here's a list of all the fields that they filled out. Now, I just said have as few fields as possible, and then here's the one that I've totally maxed out with, practically everything except your firstborn child's name. And the reason for that is because I did do this particular offer, when I first listed it, all I had was first name and email, and I got just tons and tons and tons of spam. So I thought, well, if I'm giving something away that I actually charge money for on my site, then I'm going to make people fill out a longer form. And that's your prerogative. You can do it. But we also have things on our website that you can download for only putting in a name and an email address. So we do switch it up, and you are going to have to test, but this is where we ended up deciding that it was better to have more information that we were asking for in order to get qualified people. And I guess my biggest reason was because we were giving away a PDF. In the beginning, a lot of the people that were coming to the site were taking the PDF and posting it on their own websites as their own content. And that's what I mean by spammer. So we found that out through some Google searches and changed it. So I don't know that that's really something to be concerned about. It just kind of irritated me, and that's why I changed. But it is one of our best lead generating resources on our site. So if there's something that you can do that has a lot of value to your clients, that's what you want to show them, something of value that isn't something that you made up, but something truly of value that normally maybe you would charge for, but by giving up something of yourself, they're going to be willing to give up something of themselves. So Todd, how would we set up a web form on our website using our Swiftpage account?
Funny you asked. If I flip over, all right, so I'm going to flip back to ACT, and I'm going to click on my Swiftpage icon again. Now I'm going to go to the Survey tab, and this lists all of the surveys that are in our accounts. And actually, this is the one. This is that survey right there. You can see the way we do the naming convention for this is we have web form in front, and then a description of what that web form is. You can't have any spaces or anything like that in this. So it must be one word, but we use caps to kind of separate that out. If I go to the survey editor at the bottom, it flips me back over to Swiftpage again. Here is the form. This is essentially the same form, but just looks a little different. We embedded it on our website for the other one that you saw. This one is what Swiftpage would see if you allowed Swiftpage to host it. So with Swiftpage, you can have it host the form for you. So if I click on the Survey Management tab, there's a Test It button here, and you can have it host it for you. So that's what this is doing. You just send people directly to the site. Or you can go in and pull the source code out and copy and paste that onto your website if you want to embed it right into it. We're not going to just show you how to do all that here. We've done that in other training sessions, but either one of those is you can do either one of those with the Swiftpage web form though. So across the top, this is how you control what this web form does. See, normally you start to the left and kind of work your way across the top to the right. The left is which form you want to use. You can change the current, create a new one. Then once you have the form that you want, you go in, you can design it here, or you can add additional questions, edit the ones you have, modify the instructions or background page. So the design kind of controls what the form looks like and what the questions are on it. But the one we're interested in is the survey result options. So this is what to do after the form has been filled out. So this is telling Swiftpage what we're going to do with it. It's pretty simple. There's 4 check marks here. If we want an email to go out immediately after the form has been sent, we did check that one. This would, as soon as they hit the submit button, it immediately sends an email right back to them, usually a thank you email, thank you for signing up. It could also include the download link. I think ours does that. It includes the download link for the PDF. So that's in that thank you email. And yeah, the PDF that's hosted on our website, we have a link to it in that autoresponder email. And then we have the drip marketing campaign. So this will automatically start them on the drip marketing campaign. If we wanted to update our ACT database, we can choose that here. And then where it's going to redirect to after they fill that out. So we're sending them to the blog after they fill that out. So I check all that I want, hit submit, and it just kind of starts taking you through each one of those. This is the autoresponder. Here is the actual text. It is text only on the autoresponder, but here's the text for that. Email that goes back to them. It's been sent back to them, and here's our, oh, this is a different link of their download, but this is our, some additional links that are in there. But if I submit that one, the next one is our drip campaign. And we have a drop-down list. On the drop-down list, it will list all of the drip campaigns. But remember, at the beginning of our campaign, we chose, well, actually, here it is right here. I thought it wouldn't show that up on here before me, but here it is right there. But make sure that the drip campaign is launched. So we can choose that campaign here. And then, so I submit that. And I'm going to need to go back and fix that later. But this is for downloading to ACT. It will give you a list of all of the fields that are in your ACT database, and you can map up all of the fields to each question that you ask on the form. So we just select from the drop-down list the ACT field that we want the field to go into. Submit that, and then here's our redirect. We can put in a URL if we want, or we can have just use one of the Swiftpage's hosted ones. So pretty simple. It just walked us through each one of those steps, and we select each one. But now we can see that as soon as they fill out that form, they are immediately launched on that drip marketing campaign. And then the drip marketing campaign will take over from there and send them out based on the stages that you added to the campaign. Okay, Lori?
All right. Oh, I forgot to change that to a 2. All right, so our essential campaign number 2 is proposal follow-up. And Todd, flip us over to the next slide. This is an amazing stat that I picked up, and probably you'll all agree with it. And I've certainly seen this in our business. Average sales cycle has increased 22% over the past 5 years due to more decision makers being involved in the buying process. So this, if nothing else, is a wonderful case for why you need drip marketing as a part of your sales process. There's only so much that you can do talking to somebody on the phone, meeting with them in person, giving them a quote, and if there are hidden buyers within your customer company, so you think you're talking to the decision maker, and maybe you are, and maybe that's the person who is going to sign off on your proposal, but probably there are also other people within the company that are going to be involved in making that decision, or at least affecting the timing of it, or fitting it into the budget, or whatever. So having a drip marketing campaign that follows up your personal selling efforts is a great way to put something in writing that can be passed around to other people in the company, and different people interpret things in different ways. And so if you have a one-on-one conversation with your buyer and things are going really great, and then you start putting some of those frequently asked questions or frequently expressed objections into your drip marketing campaign as part of the sales proposal follow-up, then that gives that person a chance to have some extra ammunition to take to the sales meeting that he goes to. He's not having to face the other company community, team player buyers on his own and trying to sell your service for you. He now has some backup that he can take with him, and also possibly a way of looking at the purchase in a way that he wouldn't have thought of. So you're helping the sales process be more filled out, more comprehensive, because you're thinking of things to help the sale go more smoothly than maybe you've had time to have a conversation about just talking to the buyer one-on-one. So if you think of a sales funnel, Todd, let's think of a sales funnel that looks like this. Another way of looking at the breakdown is that really only 4% of your sales funnel are really ready to make that buying decision right now. And if they are, they don't need a drip marketing campaign because they're ready to go. And maybe another 74% are what we call the looky-loos, who we don't know what the heck they're doing. They might be interested, they may be totally off the mark and asking for things from you with no intention of ever buying. They're just the people who ask a million questions and never get off of ground zero. We've all got those people. But 22% of the sales funnel are going to buy at some point, but they're just not ready today. Those are the sweet spot for drip marketing campaigns. Those are the ones that over time you can help educate so that when they're ready, even though they may be approached by a lot of your competitors, you're going to be the one that really stands out on top as the most helpful, the most knowledgeable, and the best value. So I was talking to one of my colleagues in the ACT world, another consultant who's out of Chicago, who I've helped with some drip marketing campaigns over the years. And he's always been a big believer. He doesn't have a big client base, but who he has been very loyal to him. And we got him started a couple of years ago on a drip marketing campaign for, I think it was inactive customers. And he was very diligent about keeping it up. He had some really good information in there. And he sent me a note the other day saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. It only took 3 or 4 years, but I finally got a big account from one of my customers because of the drip that we wrote 3 or 4 years ago. And even though we can't live on those because we have to pay our salaries monthly and we have to pay our overhead monthly, it is really nice to get those Christmas presents, as I call them, that you've worked really hard for in the beginning to get set up, but maybe you forgot about, and they've just been getting dripped over time, and then they finally come through. And if you can get enough of those coming through, it makes for a really nice, almost like a residual business, because you're not directly working on those people, but they're getting nurtured just the same, even though you're not involved in the process. The other reason that you want to do a sales proposal follow-up is because if you're short-staffed, as most of us are, and you're the chief cook and bottle washer rainmaker, then it's really easy to let people fall through the cracks that you need to follow up with, but it's not always possible to stay on top of every single thing that you have to do in a day. So the drip really steps in for you and allows you to be that presence as far as the recipient is concerned, even though you're not physically or verbally communicating with that person as you're busy doing your other things. So it's a really nice, and if you write your drip in a conversational tone, it does feel like it's really you, your personality, who is keeping up with them, being concerned about what their needs are at the moment. And we kind of laid out, Todd, flip to the next slide. This is a blueprint. We offered a free sales proposal follow-up blueprint. Oh, is that our slide? Oh, don't click on that. I think that's the picture of the funnel that I That's funny. But we promised a free blueprint to the first 10 who signed up for today's training, and I'll send that out after we're off the phone. But this is the blueprint that comes in the proposal, and we've laid it out. As you can see, it goes about 270 days, so almost a full year. So your sales proposal follow-up should last as long as a typical sales cycle. You can always take somebody off the drip, but depending on what you are conveying to them, you may want to leave them on even if they become a customer. It might be good information for them to have. But maybe not. Some of these are very direct questions, like when you get into the 182-day level, then we're starting to ask questions like, did your needs change? Did you pick another solution provider that wasn't us? Can you give me some feedback here, kind of let me know where I stand? Are we going to continue to talk about this, or is it not going to happen this year? Those kinds of things towards the end. But also throughout, giving people more information to help them in their decision making. So this is what I always recommend that you do when you're first putting together a drip marketing campaign, is figure out what all of the big questions that you're asked over and over again when you're in a selling situation. What are the most common questions? Those make great drips. What are the most common objections? Answer those, make those drips. Those are great drips that help overcome some of those objections and give people a different way of thinking about what their concerns are. Get with your sales team, anybody that has customer-facing contact. Ask those people what kind of conversations are they having most often. What are the questions that the customers are having? Those make great drips. Those are the kinds of messages that you want to send out, because if a majority of your customers are having those conversations with your customer service and salespeople, then prospects are going to be just as interested in those answers as well. So, Todd, how are we going to set up our sales proposal follow-up drip?
Okay. So going back to ACT, depending on how you are tracking your proposals within the database, you may use a field at your contact level, but to do that, whatever it is that's going to trigger it, we want to have something that we can trigger on. In our case, for this demo, we're going to assume that you're using opportunities, sales opportunities, to trigger that. So I'm going to track all of that. So I'm going to go over here to opportunities. I'm going to create a new opportunity. And we have several different stages set up in our opportunity. So we have proposal discovery, proposal needs, proposal sent, and that's pretty much the last thing. So, but we want to track or to launch a campaign on anybody that's in stage proposal sent. So as soon as it's sent and we change that stage, that should trigger them to be added to the drip campaign, and from there we can then follow up, add them, or have the campaign follow up with them. So the way you do that is we're going to flip over here to groups. We're going to create a new group. So I click the new button at the top. Blanks everything out. Always make sure everything's blank before you start typing something in. Otherwise you're overwriting something. We can give it a name again. So I usually use the DM again here just so that we know this is a group that's connected to our drip campaign, and anybody that's added this group is going to be launched on that campaign. So we'll give a name, come down here to add remove contacts. Pops up two little windows here. This is where you'd manually add the contact to it, to the group. We're not interested in that. We're wanting these contacts to be automatically added based on the stage that they're in. So I click on Edit Criteria down here at the bottom to do that. It says what type were we pulling this from. We're going to choose Opportunity in this case. So we have three different options here. We're going to choose Opportunity. And then now it's going to give us all the opportunity fields on our field name list here. So if I scroll down to stage, and then the operator is equal to, and it does not give you the drop-down list, so you do have to type that in here. And I don't know if I, proposal sent, I think it was like this. Add that to the list, preview it, and there's all of our contacts that have proposal sent that are on that proposal sent stage. So anytime a new opportunity is added to a contact and their stage is updated to proposal sent, they will automatically be added to this campaign. You can also add another one here too if you wish. So opportunity, and we may want to change the status so that if the opportunity is closed, they are removed from that. So we can say not equal to, and I think this one goes by numbers. So you have to do 0, 1, 2, or 3. And actually, we could just do equal to 0. That means that equal to is open. 0 is open. It's kind of goofy, but that's the way it works. So if we add that, it knocked a few off that were closed. So you can see how it turned those. So what's happening here is, as they're added to the as the opportunity is created, it's flipped to the opportunity stage. The opportunity is open, but as soon as it's closed, they will be removed from this campaign and taken off of that campaign. You may not want that. You may just leave that open. But if you have if you use that blueprint that Lori is talking about, and they have now purchased from you, or you know that they have are not going to purchase from you, and then you continue to send them emails saying what's going on, they may probably not going to like that too much. So if you put in the status and say status equal to 0, 0 is being open, then that will make sure that if it gets closed or marked as inactive or anything else, they'll be removed from the campaign. So I hit OK again, and then there are all of our contacts that that are in that stage, the particular stage, and it's still open. So that's the first step, set up a group that pulls in the contacts. This is just an example of, for proposal follow-up, but it really doesn't matter if you're creating any kind of campaigns. Whatever the campaign is for, you can set up a group in ACT and then sync that group with the campaign. So the way we do that, click on our Swiftpage icon up here, go back to our drip campaign. We should see the campaign. There it is right there. So we have our campaign. Now we need to come down and sync contacts to it. So click on Sync Contacts. We want to sync it to, you can do it manually, but the reason why we use groups is it's a lot easier. So we always want to just create a group first, sync it to group. It'll give you a drop-down list of all of the groups that are in our database. Here is a group that I just created, though. I hit Next. It then does a lookup. You can kind of see it going in the background, but it's creating those contacts, and it shows you exactly what it's going to do. So it's saying it's going to add these contacts to that campaign. So now you can even preview if you want to see what the contacts are first. And now I hit Finish, and then that pushes those contacts out to it, and it gives you exactly what it did. It said added 13 contacts. So now if I go look, remember, here's my 13 contacts in my demo campaign. I click Campaign Manager. I can actually see them in here as well, my 13 contacts. And I can do the list viewer to actually view the contacts if I wish. So that's pushing those contacts, those initial contacts, out to the campaign. You do need to keep that synced up in order for the contacts to be, any new contacts to be added to the campaign. So however often you want to do that to get those contacts in there, if it's at the end of every day, you go in and you just sync everything up, you can do that It remembers which group you selected, so all you got to do is just, you kind of follow that same exact process, but it'll just remember the group. You just click through the whole thing, and it will show you any new contacts it added, or if the opportunity closes, you'll even show you the contacts it's going to remove because that opportunity is no longer open. So it'll give you all of that. Every time you sync it, it'll show you exactly what it's doing, so which contacts it's sending back and forth. And that's it. That'll launch them on the campaign starting tomorrow. They'll get their first email, and then continue on with the campaign. Okay. All right, Lori.
All right. So this is what your business looks like once you set up all of your drip marketing campaigns. So we covered the top of the funnel, how to get new leads into your Act database through putting up lots of web forms on your site. And then we covered what it looks like when you kind of manage your bottom of the funnel, which is people who are poised to buy from you very soon, hopefully very soon, but at least they're at the proposal level or about to get a proposal, and so how to handle those people. But beyond those two, which we consider the two essential drip marketing campaigns, there are many, many more that you can do in your business, and the more you have, the more chances you have of hitting the right person at the right time with the right message, even though everybody's at a different point. So you get this big highway interchange, and everybody's going 100 miles an hour, but everybody's getting exactly what they need. And it really starts kicking in and showing you the results when you can get about 4 or 5 of these running at any given time and moving from one to another because they've reached a different stage of their buying level in your sales funnel. And yes, it's a lot of work to set these up, but it is so nice once they're set up and they're running and they're bringing you extra leads, extra phone calls, extra emails for questions to answer, and extra referrals, which we've seen all of that in the last nearly 10 years that we've been using drip marketing in our own company. So I encourage you very strongly to get these first 2 set up. They're probably some of the easiest ones to set up, but there are certainly many, many more. And you know that you need a drip campaign when you see that a certain part of your sales process is dropping the ball. So whether it's a human dropping the ball or it's just you've got a hole in the sales process that you just can't figure out how to fill, a drip can really stand in for catching that up very nicely and helping customers to see the way that you look at the world and help them understand why you are the best choice. So we happen to be having, Todd, a drip marketing camp coming up. This is something that we've done for the last 6 or 7 years, a couple times a year. It's a 6-week course that allows you to start from the very beginning of the drip process and work all the way to the end. You can work on whatever drip you want. You get to choose, and we help you launch it, work on it, create the content for it, fix your website to be optimized to accept the web forms that you put up if that's the route that you decide to go, how to track everything. And it's 6 weeks, but it's 3 weeks of recorded videos that have all the basic foundational stuff that you need to know, and then 3 weeks of group calls and 1 special week where we would work one-on-one together to put the finishing touches on the drip that you've created. And the way that it works is the first week you watch the video, you get a homework assignment. The next week you do it and come to a group call. The next week you watch a video, and then the whole thing repeats for the 6 weeks. And everyone who's gone through it really loves the process. I do offer a 10-time money-back guarantee for anybody who goes through the process as designed, gets their drip launched, and if 12 months go by and you haven't recouped at least 10 times your investment, I refund your money, no questions asked. And we have yet to, actually we did do that once. We refunded 1 client because he was in the financial industry and couldn't do anything that we recommended because of compliance issues. So that was my 1 refund in all of the 6 years that we've been doing this. It's just everybody really loves the process. So Here's a $100 off coupon if you want to check that out. It's on our website under the events page, and hope to see you there. There's your promo code to use it. And I think we have, like, what, Todd, a minute or two left to take some questions. If anyone has any questions about what we talked today, or if you've got any questions about ACT or Swiftpage, I'd be happy to answer anything for you. Did we leave anything out, Todd?
I don't think so.
I
think we answered everybody's questions.
All right. Well, we have a webinar full of smart people who have no questions. So stay tuned for our next training session, which is going to be on Swiftpage, the top 25 Swiftpage tips and hacks, I think, is our next one, which is going to be first part of April. You'll all get the email for it to invite you, and we hope we'll see you then. And last opportunity for questions, going once, going twice. You can also email us offline as well. So thank you all for showing up today, and if you do come up with any questions after we end this training, be sure and send it to us, and we'll get right back with you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Todd.
You're welcome.